Good evening, friends. How are you all? So, today, friends, we are going to see the next chapter of our 7th standard geography. And today, I have decided that I will not use this PowerPoint presentation. Today, just for a change, we are going to see it just from the PDF. So, in the end, you can give me the feedback personally or on the Telegram group that which one is better suitable for you guys or which one you like. Okay, so uh, I am on a different experimentation method to make these videos more interactive and more interesting for you guys. So friends, yesterday we have seen the chapter of about environment, and today we are going to see the chapter about inside our earth. So yesterday's chapter was related to environment, and today's chapter is about inside of our earth. So this is more related to geography. Okay, so let us understand this everything about earth and what is there inside the earth. So this chapter is dealing with the rocks, it is dealing with the overall layers of the earth. Okay, so guys, uh, this chapter is going to come again in 11th standard, where we are going to see the detailed, much more detailed, and same things are going to repeat in the 11th standard in more detailed manner. Okay, so let us understand this. 7th standard NCERT is also covering sufficient amount of information about this chapter, which can be asked in prelim examination. Okay, so let us start with this interior of the earth. So friends, generally when we say earth, we remember this spherical sphere, okay, it's revolving around the sun. But generally, since our childhood, we don't know what is there inside the earth. So earth's interior is like an onion. Okay. So here you can see that this is an earth, and onion, if you see onion, how is it? It has a peels, it has a various layers. One layer after one layer after one layer, and finally when you reach to the last layer, it's still that you have smaller layer inside. So there is onion is nothing but combination of all the layers. We call it as a onion. Similarly, this earth is also like that onion. So it has a different layers. So topmost very thin layer, like an onion, it has a very small thin layer on the top. Okay. So we call this topmost layer as a mantle. Okay. So this mantle, this is called as a crust. So crust is a topmost layer over here. You can see. So this is a crust. The uppermost part of the earth is a crust. So this crust, so here we can see this is a crust. So this crust has a different characteristics in terms of whether it is an oceanic crust or continental crust. If you see the continental crust, okay, just by looking it, it looks very big. Oceanic crust looks very thin. Continental crust looks very thick. But density wise, oceanic crust is more denser than the continental crust. Continental crust has a less density. But thickness wise, if you see, continental crust average thickness is 35 kilometers, and oceanic crust average thickness is only 5 kilometers. But if you see the overall density, then density is more in terms of oceanic crust compared to continental crust. Now, when we are saying this oceanic crust and continental crust, then you should understand the composition of those crusts. Okay. So before going to see the composition, let us understand there are certain facts which are given over here. They are very important. They can be asked in exam. So the deepest mine in the world, it is in the South Africa. Okay. So it is a 4 kilometer deep. Getting it? Okay. So this deepest mine, there is also a deepest that exploration is going on in Arctic region. The mine is called Kola, but that is an abandoned mine. So right now we have the deepest mine in the Africa, which is almost about 4 kilometers, 4 kilometer deep. Okay. So to reach the center of the earth, you will have to dig a hole about 6,000 kilometers. Getting it? So 6,000 kilometers if you want to reach to the center. So you can see it's a radius. So almost the radius of the earth, you can see is 6,000 kilometers. So this question can be asked in the prelims. So these facts are very important from that point of view. Now let us understand the overall composition of mineral composition of the earth's crust. So Earth's crust, as we have seen, it can be classified into two types: oceanic crust and continental crust. Oceanic crust is a denser, continental crust is a less dense. Continental crust is made up of silica and aluminium or alumina. So that is why it is also called as a Sial. Getting it? So Si for silica and Al for alumina. Oceanic crust is made up of silica and magnesium. So the first few letters of these two elements, Sima or Saima. So Sial and Saima. So this is a continental crust which is made up of silica and aluminium, and this is the oceanic crust which is made up of silica and magnesium. So Sial and Saima. So these are the two important factors which these things can be asked in the preliminary examination. Okay. So if we understand the region below the earth crust is known as mantle. So let us go over here. So first region is known as crust. It is up to 35 kilometers, 35 to say 40, average 40 kilometers. Below that you go to the mantle. Mantle, when you go to the mantle, mantle is almost size of the mantle is 2900 kilometers. Okay, so it's almost 2900 kilometers is the overall, we can say the total size or radius of the mantle. So after mantle, we enter into the core. So we have three important parts of the earth. First is crust, second is mantle, third is core. Further, these parts are divided into the subparts. Crust is divided into the oceanic crust and continental crust. Mantle is divided into again two parts, upper mantle, lower mantle. Core is again divided into two parts, outer core and inner core. And they have different properties. They have different temperatures. They have different densities. Okay. So these are the different layers of the earth. So we have seen that continental crust is made up of silicon and aluminium. Oceanic crust is made up of silicon and magnesium. So Sial and Saima, these are the two parts of the crust. So beneath as you go, then you get the mantle. So mantle, how much is it? It is 2900 kilometer just below the crust. So from the boundary between crust and mantle to the boundary between mantle and outer core is the distance is 2900 kilometers. Okay. So the innermost, then after that you go to the core. After the mantle is finished, next layer which starts is the core. So core, so this is the innermost layer of the earth. Okay, innermost layer of the earth, and it can be divided into two parts. Okay, inner core and outer core. So innermost layer of the earth, so its radius is around 3500 kilometers. And core is made up of dominant elements called as a nickel and iron or ferrous. So this layer is known as Nife layer or knife layer. But knife spelling don't say K-N-I-F-E, it's a N-I-F-E knife or Nife, simply you can call it as. So core is made up of knife or Nife layer. Okay. So these are the three important layers of the earth. Again on this side you can see the important facts. Okay. So the crust forms only 1% volume of the overall earth. Okay. Mantle consists of the highest volume, that is 84%. Okay. And mantle consists of 84%. Okay. Sorry, this underlining is not I think some issues are there over here in the PDF. So mantle is occupying the highest volume, that is 84%, and 15% is the volume of core. And overall radius of the earth is 6371 kilometers. Okay. So 6371 kilometer is the radius. Okay. So these facts are very important. They can be asked in the exam. So now guys, these are the various parts of the earth that we have seen. Hope there is no confusion in this. Now this all the earth or entire earth is finally made up of either lava, molten, or we call it as a molten magma, or cooled lava, or we call it as a rock. Getting it? This rock is made up of small minerals. So let us understand rocks and minerals of these different parts of the earth. So before going to the rocks and minerals, let us understand there are three types of rocks. Okay. Rock, first of all, the definition is nothing but an aggregate of minerals. One or two minerals, when the aggregate forms, we call it as a rock. When we separate a particular mineral from the rock, then that is a separate mineral. We call it as a gold, we call it a silver, getting it. But when the aggregate of all these minerals, okay, one rock will have iron, it will have aluminium, it will have a calcium, it will have uranium. We'll call this as a rock. But if you separate them, then we'll call it as a separate mineral. So this is a difference between rock and mineral. Earth's crust is majorly made up of rock, whether it is an oceanic crust or whether it is a continental crust. They are made up of rocks. As you go deep downwards, okay, these rocks get melted out and it gets converted into the molten magma or molten lava. Getting it? So these rocks, okay, are the major phenomena of the crust. And inside the rock, you have minerals. Inside the minerals, you have elements. Inside the elements, you have atoms. And inside the atoms, you have electron, proton, neutron. And in that, you have a quarks. Getting it? So this thing goes like that. So rocks and minerals. So there are three important types of rocks. Which are those three important types of rocks? First is a igneous rock. Then you have a sedimentary rock. Then you have a metamorphic rock. Okay. So igneous rock, sedimentary rock, and metamorphic rock. Three types of rock. So these names are again Latin names. They are coming from the Latin culture. Igneous, so we can say like Agni. We can compare this word with the Agni. Igneous, ignis. It means fire. Okay. So this rock is a direct result of a fire which is inside the earth or heat inside the earth which melts the rock. So that's why this is a very compact, very hard rock. We call it as a igneous rock. When igneous rock is formed, generally when lava comes on the surface and it cools down, magma comes and it cools down on the surface, okay, it becomes rock. Once that rock is there, we call it as an igneous rock. So for example, basalt. So when this rock has been formed, newly formed rock, either a plateau will be formed or mountain will be formed. When these plateaus or mountains are formed, on that particular mountain, river will be formed. This river will erode that particular mountain. This air will erode, the running winds will erode that particular mountain. The glaciers are formed, they will erode that particular mountain. And small parts of those mountains will come out. We will call it as a sediments. These sediments will flow somewhere down and they will accumulate above each other. Then because of the chemical process between them, certain chemicals will be secreted from these rocks and these rocks will get compacted. Then that rock will be called as a sedimentary rock. Okay. So this word is coming from the sedimentum. Okay. So this word is coming from the sedimentum. Sedimentum means settling down. Okay. So here, so sedimentary rock word is coming from the sedimentum. Now this sedimentary rock has been formed. Further, more sediments are going to sit on the already deposited sediments, and the sediments at the bottom of the earth are going to get pushed down and down and down. Further, it will go very much down. When it will go very much down, the temperature will increase as it is going down interior of the earth. As this temperature is going to increase, then what will happen? These grains of the minerals inside that rock, they will change their structure, they will change their arrangement. When they will change their arrangement, this process is called as a metamorphosis. This word again is coming from the Latin word. It means changing in the form. So metamorphosis means changing the form of anything. So rock changes their form. Their mineral composition changes, their arrangement of the mineral changes, and new types of rock develops, which is called as metamorphic rock. So this process of metamorphosis, so what type of rock will be formed? That will be dependent upon the process of metamorphosis. So degree of metamorphosis will tell you what type of rock will be formed. Okay, just clay will be converted into chalk, that will be converted into slate, that can be converted into further other type of rock as the degree of metamorphosis increases. Getting it? So these are the three types of rocks that we have seen. Okay. So this igneous rock is also called as a primary rock because this is the first rock which forms when lava cools down. Okay. Now again, friends, lava can be cooled on the surface of the earth in the open environment, or it can be cooled below the crust. So if it cools below the crust, the cooling of the lava will be very, very slow. So when cooling of the lava is very, very slow, the grains of the minerals will be formed, will be bigger. So this type of rock is known as a intrusive type of rock. Getting it? If that particular lava comes on the surface and it cools down, then grains will cool very fast. Then size of the grain will be smaller. So this type of rock will be known as an extrusive rock. So the igneous rock is of two types, intrusive rock and extrusive type of rock. Okay. So these intrusive type of rock. So for example, okay, basalt, Deccan Plateau, for example, this lava has been formed on the surface. Okay. So uh, Deccan Plateau, okay, is also an example, okay, of one of the rocks, okay. So here molten magma, okay, uh, when it cools down inside the earth, okay, then granite will form. Deccan Plateau is made up of basalt, okay, so we can call it as it is an example of extrusive type of rock. Granite, it cools down deep, okay, deep inside the crust. Okay, so slowly cooling down is very slow. So they form very large grain. So granite is an example of intrusive type of rock. Okay, so as we know that granite is very useful for us since its grains are little bigger. So it is used for various purposes like we make kitchen. Ancient time, these kitchen utensils and all they used to be made up of granite. Then if you want to paste out of something, you want to piece masala, uh, then you have to use the granite thing. Getting it? So you might have seen in your grandmother's kitchen. Nowadays, definitely we don't see it because we use the mixer grinder. Okay, so this is the usage. So basalt and granite, they are the different types of rocks, and their purpose is of different types. Okay, so sedimentary rock, as we have said that sedimentum, that is settling down of the various rock particles, and because of the secretion of certain chemicals, sedimentary rock is formed. Okay, so these sediments are transported deep down. Maybe for example, western ghat is made up of basaltic rock. These sediments will go to somewhere on the coastal Andhra region, and there you will have a sedimentary rock. So they can be flown away very far distance, and sedimentary rock will be formed a certain 1,000 kilometers away from where the original rock was there. Getting it? So this type of rocks are known as a sedimentary rock. Okay. So example of that is a sandstone. So you might have seen the sandstone. I think Mathura sculptures and arts, if you see art and culture. So Mathura sculptures are made up of sandstone. Okay. So this sandstone is a sedimentary type of rock. Then, when, as you guys know, that since these particles of the rock will be coming from long distance, like Himalayas particles will come from, and Western Ghats particle will come from at the coast of Andhra or coast of Odisha. So here, by coming in between, they will carry lots of dead organisms inside them. So these dead organisms will also accumulate inside these sediments, and it will get fossilized into these sediments. So sedimentary rocks are very famous for finding the fossils of various different animals and birds. Okay, specifically fishes. You will see different fossils. So fossils are nothing but dead plants, animals trapped inside the rock layer. You are calling it as a fossils. Okay, so this is a very interesting thing how fossils are formed. You should visit certain places like Rajasthan and all certain parts of the Himalaya where you'll see these fossils easily. You can just traveling, you can see the fossil inside those rocks. Okay, So these are the two types of rock. First was a igneous rock, second is a sedimentary rock. Further, as I have told, sedimentary rock itself can be converted into the metamorphic rock because of the process of metamorphosis. So here they have given the photograph of metamorphic rock. Okay, so definitely on this photograph you cannot understand what exactly metamorphic rock. Okay, but understand sedimentary rock, there is a no change in the structure of the grains, no change in the arrangement of the grains. But in the metamorphic rock, there will be change in the arrangement of the grains because of the change in the pressure, volume, and temperature. So whenever there is a change in the pressure, volume, and temperature, what you will get is a metamorphic rock. Okay. So limestone is also an example of the sedimentary rock. Marble is an also example of sorry, metamorphic rock, not sedimentary rock. So igneous and sedimentary rocks can change into the metamorphic rock. So for example, igneous rock was there, basalt, and suddenly lava eruption happened in that region, and temperature in that region suddenly changed. So basaltic rock will change its arrangement of the grain, and it will get converted into the metamorphic rock. Same thing happened with the sedimentary rock. It will change its arrangement and it will get converted into the metamorphic rock. So for example, on the surface of the crust, there was a lots of clay. Say at the base of the lake, there was a clay, and suddenly there was an eruption of volcano in that region. So that clay will undergo the change in the grain structure, okay, grain arrangement, and that will change into the slate. Further, if metamorphism is very high, that will change into the limestone, and limestone may change into the marble for further metamorphism. So simple clay is changing into the marble because of the process of metamorphism. Okay. So I hope you guys are understanding. It's a little bit very important and important from prelim points of view. Okay. So usage of rocks. So rocks, as we guys know, it is very useful for us. Okay, we can make buildings, we can make temples, we can make sculptures. Okay. So seven stones or pithu, hopscotch or stapu or kitkit, five stone gitti. Okay, these are the many games also children will play. Okay, when we are small, we have played this type of games. I don't know what you call in your area the names of the game. This is a red fort made up of sandstone. Okay, this is Taj Mahal made up of marble, metamorphic rock. Okay, so this rock, if you have seen, okay, this diagram will tell you that overall there is a cycle of rock. They are not in the isolation. They are in the cyclical manner. They are moving from one region to another region and they are changing their forms. So first there was a magma. First there was an eruption of magma. Then the mountain type of, you can say, igneous. This igneous rock has been formed. Igneous rocks, sediments have formed, and because of the sediments settled down and they secreted certain chemicals, they got compacted and sedimentary rock was formed. Further, these sediments were pushed down. Okay, sedimentary rock was formed, sediments were pushed down, and because of the change in the pressure, volume, and temperature, metamorphic rock was formed. But metamorphic rock, it has a certain limit to bear this temperature, volume, and pressure change. If it reaches too high, pressure, volume, temperature increases at very tremendous level, then this metamorphic rock will melt and again it will get converted into the magma. Getting it? So again it is coming back to its original structure. We are calling it as a magma. Okay. So in this way, this rock is going on into the rock cycle. So different rock cycles are there, from uh, igneous rock to the metamorphic rock and back to the magma. So in exam, if the question is asked about rock cycle, then you can draw this diagram, how magma gets converted into the different rocks, and again everything gets converted back into the magma. So overall, everywhere on the earth, what we have is a cycle of certain things. Okay, so this is a rock. Okay, and rocks are made up of different minerals. These minerals are nothing but these naturally occurring substances which will have a certain physical properties. They have a fixed physical properties and fixed chemical composition. Getting it? So minerals, they will have fixed physical properties and fixed chemical composition. They are very important for us. Okay, so we are using various minerals. Some are for important for industrial purpose. Okay, some are important for recreational purpose. Some are important for agriculture. Okay, so these are the different. Some are important for the medical purpose. So these are the different minerals which are found in the different types of rocks. So in Andhra, we know some places we find diamonds, some places we have lignite, and some places we have coal. So Andhra Krishna Godavari basin is also very famous for the natural gas. Okay, so this is entire chapter is all about rocks and different minerals. I hope you guys have understood this. So, like sixth standard, you don't have a MCQ, I think, exercise. No, you have MCQ type of exercise over here as well. Okay. So let us understand these MCQs. First is a rock which is made up of molten magma. It's very simple. You will answer this. The innermost layer of the earth is called as, very simple, gold, petroleum, and coal are the examples of, very simple, rocks within which contains the fossils, very simple. The thinnermost layer of the earth is, very simple. Okay. Third, again match the following. You can take them as an MCQ. Okay. So uh, core, so minerals, rocks, clay, Cl. And here, earth's surface used for roads and buildings, made up of silicon and alumina, has a definite chemical composition. Innermost layer changes into the slate, process of transformation of the rock. So these are the important questions. Once you have understood the chapter, you will be easily able to answer this question. So in the end, I will sum up again. So rocks are nothing but an aggregate of one or two minerals. Minerals are very important. So rocks are nothing but when this lava or magma, when it cools down, then it gets converted into the rock. So first rock or primary rock is known as a igneous rock. Igneous means made up of fire. Then this rock breaks down and then it is transported by the river, water, winds, and then it gets deposited somewhere. When it gets deposited somewhere, after a few million years, a process of chemical secretion happens. We call it as a compaction. And because of this compaction, the new type of rock is formed known as a sedimentary type of rock. When this sedimentary type of rock and igneous type of rock, it can undergo pressure, volume and temperature change, then you can call it as a third type of rock, metamorphic rock. So igneous rock, basalt is an example of igneous rock. Sedimentary rock, what is an example of sedimentary rock? Okay, so sandstone is an example of sedimentary rock. The Delhi Red Fort is made up of sedimentary rock. Third is you have a metamorphic rock. So marble is an example of metamorphic rock. So guys, understand, not necessary these processes or this rock cycle should happen in a particular in a linear manner. Igneous rock can go back to the magma directly. No need to again get converted into sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock can be directly get converted into the magma. Metamorphic rock can directly get converted into the magma. Getting it? Or metamorphic rock, if sedimentation happens in the metamorphic rock, it can get converted into the sedimentary rock. So though we have converted, yes, we have connected links and made it into the cycle, but not necessarily it is going on into the particular cycle. They may directly interfere their position anywhere at any place. So I hope you guys have understood this chapter. So we'll see the question at 8 o'clock. And please also give me the feedback. How did you feel this lecture, or you want to which one you like most, PPT lecture or this say PDF type of lecture. Okay. So thank you. See you for the next